We are back for a very exciting episode. I love this sort of 4-day stretch that we have in December of every season because we have possibly one of the more serious episodes we do in a year, followed by one of the most stupid episodes. No, actually, the most stupid episode we do all year. The LB Awards are coming on Wednesday, Sam. But before we get there, we are going to go through the entire 2025 championship today and review it.
Yeah, the issue with the LB Awards being after this one, it's like, remember when you were a kid and you had the Christmas break coming up, but you had to do like your mocks or something like that before, and you're like, I'm not concentrating on the mocks. I've got the Christmas break coming up in a week, and that is literally what's happening right now. I'm just concentrating on the LB. So, all 24 races apparently. Here we go.
You're going to get like a C, a D, and an E. That's classic mock, isn't it? Yeah,
right, actually.
Yeah. It's now officially a week, and I'm still in Ben's house. I have not left.
but we have sort chairs again.
I walked in. I was like, Ben, I swear to God, man. And he said he'd purposely swapped them this way around again.
Yeah, it's about time you leave, to be honest.
I'll think about it, but I'll probably still be here for the LPs.
I'm going to keep switching these chairs around until you leave.
Well, that's going to be interesting because we're recording the LPs on the same night. So we're going to have to swap them now. Yeah.
Damn.
I can't wait for the next time to be that Ben is sat on Harry and the chairs are sat on each other.
This is what the people are tuning in for, but just in case there's someone out there that wants some F1 chat, let's crack on. We're going to go through all 24 races. Obviously, we're going to spend an hour on each one. It's not going to be a 24-hour podcast. We're going to stick to our usual length, but we're going to skip through some of them that maybe there aren't too many things to talk about, and then we'll spend a bit more time on those that gave us plenty of talking points. But we are going to go through chronologically. So let's go to the start of the season. Before we even get to Australia, Sam, we see the 2024 championship. We have Max Verstappen take the Drivers' Championship, but McLaren take the Constructors' Championship. And a lot of Verstappen's success came from such a dominant start for Red Bull. It looked like, as a result of pre-season testing going into Australia, that probably wasn't going to repeat itself.
No, but we were going into the new season with a kind of not a clue of who might actually be more dominant. Ferrari had won 2 or 3 races at the back end of 24. McLaren had just crowned themselves Constructors' Champions. Of course, Max had held on to the drivers despite a kind of rocky end to the season. So you never really knew who was going to rise to the top. And of course, George Russell and Mercedes is always going to be there as well. And yet, we go into Australia and a lot of revelations start to take place because boy, it'd be wet.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Obviously, again, horrible conditions for a first race of the season. We had a lot of upheaval in terms of the grid, right? A lot of rookies, a lot of drivers joining new teams. Those aren't the conditions you want if you're in one of those spots.
No, and I think that plays itself out, doesn't it?
Yes.
Especially for the rookies in this race. It was kind of a baptism of fire for all of them involved.
Water.
A baptism of water, yes.
That's the saying goes.
How they are. They are.
Yeah, why is the saying baptism of fire when they are always done with water? You're not, you don't bring any flames into this church, do you?
Pretty certain it's gone.
Spitting bars out there, man. You don't bring any flames into this church.
No, that's cold.
Harry,
It's the name of my new album.
What, flames into this church?
Don't bring flames into the church.
Oh, it's a long game. Can you take the vowels out like Fallout Boy?
Don't brum.
No.
No.
Goodness me. Yeah, the Australian GP, the conditions aren't good. We do get a preview of what we're going to get for most of this season, I think, with Verstappen desperately trying his best to cling on to the McLarens. Sammy manages to get Oscar Piastri at the start of this race, but later makes a bit of an uncharacteristic error to then let Piastri back by.
Whoa. We're ignoring a chaotic formation lap where we're properly introduced to Isaac Hadjar for the first time in Formula One. That feels like one of the defining moments of the season. Him crying his little eyes out as he walks back through the paddock with Anthony Hamilton cradling him. He went on to achieve bigger and better things. I'm sure we'll get on to Hadjar a little bit more throughout the season. But yeah, it was a pretty chaotic start into the wet. Max Verstappen is desperate to try and get in front, and Lando Norris proves kind of the metal he's made of by getting away well and holding on into what is a really tricky start to this season. We've already mentioned there are cars falling off the racetrack. I think Jack Doohan's in the wall in about 3 seconds of the race, but the McLaren boys and Max Verstappen out front doing well to hold on to each other.
I mean, we have this sort of instance where Verstappen again is fighting so hard to stay with the McLarens, and ultimately that error causes Piastri to go by. I'd forgotten about this. We get a safety car later in the Grand Prix. By the time the safety car comes out, Verstappen is 17 seconds behind Piastri. Like, those McLarens were off.
Yeah, they. I think the mixed conditions diluted what was quite a dominant race for them. Obviously, they both fell off the road. I also forgot when we had the sort of second downpour in this, that firstly Verstappen tried to hang it out, and then when Verstappen decided it wasn't enough, Ferrari were here to save the day of bold strategy calls because they continued to keep going.
Hamilton is out there drowning with dry tyres on.
But both of them, not even going to split the strategy on this one, but we're gonna go all in with both Ferraris and try and hang it out when it's quite clearly chucking it down. But yeah, it was McLaren should have been, I think, easily 1-2 and well down the road if it had been a normal dry race, this one. But obviously, the weather intervened and allowed Verstappen back into the mix, even after that rare error that he made.
In that Ferrari chaos, we were, of course, given one of the best radios of the whole year, which was of, is there a leakage? A leakage of what? I have a seat full of water. Must be the water. Incredibly insightful moment when even Charles Leclerc of the team radio said, words of wisdom.
I don't think that's the last time that team radio is going to be mentioned over the next few days with the LB Awards coming up.
Don't worry about.
We'll see. Quick, well, you've already mentioned one rookie, for that being Isaac Hadjar, Sam. Another rookie puts in a far more impressive performance. Antonelli goes from 16th to 4th here. He does have to overtake Hulkenberg about 9 times to make that happen, but it's a good start for him, right?
It is a good start for him. I almost feel like we got too early an introduction to Kimi Antonelli, because what we're going to discuss as we go through the season is that, of course, these performances tailed off as we got to kind of the midpoint and the latter midpoint of the season. But he's starting off brave. It felt like this was the Antonelli we were expecting to come into play, the one that kind of was all guts, all glory. You know, he's either going to put it in the wall or he's going to send it around the outside of you, regardless of the conditions. The guy that doesn't know where the brake pedal is, for crying out loud. And he proved that. It was an amazing comeback after what was quite a disappointing qualifying. Served him well. Unfortunately, we didn't get that continuation as we go into later races, but a brilliant introduction to Formula One.
2 last quick points I made on this one. Number 1, Hulkenberg gets P7 in this race, which is good for 6 points. That's more than they scored in all of 2024 combined, the Sauber team. And Piastri's overtake on Hamilton.
Yeah, this is filthy round the outside of that chicane. Unreal move.
Yeah,
naughty.
Big fan of that. And who knows? Overtake of the Year award. That will be coming up in the LB Awards midweek. We make a trip to China for race 2, the first sprint race of the season. And, things are looking far better for Ferrari, Sam.
Yes, a completely legal car, and it feels like they're suddenly very competitive. Do well in the sprint qualifying, and then we get into sprint. Sorry, Lewis Hamilton's gone. What's happened here? He's decided to actually become primetime Lewis Hamilton again. Unlike Stroll, who's primetime Senna, Lewis is just himself again. And he wins by miles. And he's got great tyre wear. And Charles Leclerc can't be seen anywhere near him. That doesn't continue ever again.
This, again, something I forgot from this race. Obviously, they're great in the sprint. Hamilton wins, as you say, Sam. Later on, after the actual race, they get disqualified.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. But in my head, they were more competitive in the race than they were. They weren't even that good in the race.
No.
I had it in my head like they had a really great weekend and then got disqualified. Nah, they were still pretty rubbish in the race.
Yeah. This is such a defining weekend for Ferrari when it comes to the 2025 season, and it's race 2. I feel like coming out of Australia, it was a question of, is that Ferrari just poor in wet conditions, which it typically year after year is. I saw someone the other day say that Ferrari still haven't won a fully wet race since Alonso in 2012, which
I saw that. Yeah,
that's mind blowing.
That was a bit mad.
But yeah, maybe they were just.
It's a massive vessel putting it in the wall in Germany. It's just evidence that they can't do any wet racing.
I just assumed that maybe they'd be better in dry conditions, and then for one day they were, and then they just never were again. It's a bit better again for McLaren. So Piastri, after having watched his teammate take victory in Australia, Sam, he bounces back really well here.
He does, because obviously not only did he run off the road like Lando Norris, he wanted to win in Australia. He dropped all the way back to P9, I think it was, in Australia. So he's got real, points to make up. And gosh, how many of those points we see cost him at the end of the season? Actually, that he picks up 2 and Lando picks up 25, a 23-point gap after the first race is a tough one to recover from, but he does. And he is really quick here. And this is where we start to see the Piastri that we saw for so much of the season, who is not just a match for Lando Norris, but regularly faster than him. I thought he controlled it really well.
I mean, Liam Lawson is probably another one to mention here, Harry, because this is his second and final race for the team.
It's going well for Liam at this point. That we've covered this a lot, but a savage way to end his very, very, very short stint at Red Bull. This was not a good race, but I think you've made this point before, Ben. He'd had like one wet race, one sprint, which means only one practice session, and then obviously Red Bull decided that was enough.
Yeah, it's still bad.
It wasn't good. He was not good. Let's be
no, of course.
Let's be real. He was not good at all. But savage.
I don't know what they're expecting.
That was capped off by by Ollie Behrman pronouncing Italian perfectly as he overtakes Doohan and Lawson and going, ciao.
Behrman Chow was one of the best games of the season.
Behrman ciao.
Like Chairman Bao.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sad that he stopped doing this because he felt like he was getting stick for it. So he didn't do it ever again. No, I wanted it to become the signature sign-off every time he did an overtake. Yeah, ciao.
I appreciate it a lot.
Imagine him in Mexico. There'd be chows flying everywhere.
Yeah.
That reminds me of Gabe, though, in the office, where they're like, ciao.
He's probably the coolest guy in the office. What's wrong with that? I also had Behrman written down and the word ciao next to each other. I also had written down that this was and I'd almost forgotten about this. This is the point where the Sauber team are trying to kill their drivers on the first laps.
I'd unfairly written Bortoletto's being a bit stinky, but then I realised it's because the car tries to kill them every time they get in it.
It was awful at this point, just on that first lap.
Terrifying. Yeah. Terrifying for the first lap. Can't get anywhere. And yet, amazingly, they still don't often finish last in these Grand Prix. So it tells you a lot about those drivers.
Yeah, and things do get better for them as the year goes on too. I mean, Lando Norris has to fight with George Russell for that second position, but ultimately wins that out. And Verstappen isn't as competitive here as we see in Australia. Again, looking good for McLaren in the early stages. Now, round 3, we take a short trip to Japan. And we take a short trip on this podcast because there are not a lot of things to say about the Japanese GP. Let's start, Sam, with not what happened on the Sunday, because I was dead for that day. Let's start with what happened on the Saturday, the pole position by Max Verstappen.
Yeah, Sunday was a difficult day for Late Breaking Incorporated. We were struggling.
It was Kirsty's fault.
Max Verstappen. It was all Kirsty's fault. Thank you, Keith. Honestly, that lap was incredible. After the slow performance that we saw in China, where it felt like we had started to realize that the Red Bull was actually not going to be that competitive, and we were seeing more the end of 2024 than the start of 2024 as their form in 2025. It suddenly dawned on us, this is going to be a fight between McLarens. Max might be out of this. And then he puts one of the best qualifying laps I've seen from him. I do think that's probably a top 10 lap from Max Verstappen in terms of qualifying, sticks it on pole position. And as we've seen for so many of the races in 2025, qualifying is integral to your victory, to your success. Put it on pole. And there was almost not a single overtake throughout the entire Grand Prix. The two McLarens hugging him the entire race. It was a phenomenal lap.
I think with a bit more time, bit more hindsight, that Verstappen lap will be viewed as up there with like the Hamilton Singapore 2018 one, because that car, as we saw for the rest of the year, the car was really good when high speed, not many corners tracks. Not what I know Suzuka is high speed, but it's there's a lot of corners there, a lot of long corners. That should have been McLaren territory. Yeah, and the fact that he's on pole for that is ridiculous. So it's up there.
For sure. The only other thing, you mentioned this before we even started recording, Harry, but Lando Norris is pretty close to Max Verstappen coming out of the pits, which could have changed this race ever so slightly. But also with Norris and Piastri being tucked behind Verstappen, there were a few questions as to whether they should give Piastri a go, see if he could try and overtake him.
They didn't
Sure,
try.
I'm sure that'll be the last time they try and implement any team rules this year.
They're really good at mitigating risk from outside of the team.
I also, that Norris Verstappen incident in the pit lane, which was the only bit of drama all race, really annoying. I'm like, Lando, mate, come on. You drove into the grass.
Yeah,
Like,
that was clear as day, wasn't it?
let it go.
Not much happens in the midfield here, but there are a few that take advantage of some poor performances. So Alex Albon, who has a great start to the year, bless him, but he still doesn't like his team at this point. He just Sassy Albon is like he does that quite regularly.
So many whinges this season at his team. I think this is the first of it, and he's kind of like, this gets me results.
It's working at this point.
Yeah, it is. You know, it's like you guys don't make any sense.
Let
up with your rubbish.
I went through our own Instagram earlier just to remind myself some of the things we'd said after these races, and Sam was talking about this very point. Basically, you said something along the lines of that Albon phones up his team just to tell them he hates them and hangs up.
Hey, I hate you.
Just to let you know.
By the way, I hate you and you suck. Bye-bye.
You still suck.
I've got an update. You still suck. Round 4, the Bahrain GP. And Oscar Piastri's on a bit of a roll here. I know he doesn't win the race in Japan, but he's the first to win 2 races in the season. I think, Sam, this might be his best weekend of the year.
Do you think so?
I think he might
I definitely think it's a conversation, and definitely over what Lando Norris is doing further back in the pack throughout this Grand Prix, of course. Where we've seen McLaren, especially their early pace in the likes of Australia, the way they were right on the back of Max Verstappen, but overtaking was so difficult. It looked like they were very evenly matched up until this point in the season. And yet here it felt like Oscar had Lando in his pocket at every turn. Of course, Lando had to make it through some traffic as well. He was in and around Leclerc, who was driving brilliantly. Russell was on one of his best performances as well in the early season. Then while Oscar won the race, Lando did eventually prevail throughout a lot of that traffic. So I think the points are probably more complimentary towards Lando over what the actual form of the race probably shows.
I think my biggest takeaway from this race is that I think it's a pretty good race overall. Like maybe a 7, maybe even an 8 out of 10. But it is somewhat ruined by the safety car, because I think Ferrari might have been cooking with that strategy still.
Oh,
Yeah.
We were actually gutted that it didn't pay off.
I don't know if it would have been enough to win, but Leclerc was overtaking Norris legitimately due to the strategy at one point, and we don't quite see it pay off because of that safety car.
The one time they're good at strategy.
I think they nailed it.
I only had a couple of notes on this one, extra notes, which are Red Bull's terrible pit stops.
Yep.
The red lights just always on. And this race, and China I just kind of forgot Russell was there at the start of this year. I know he was kind of anyway, but like the Mercedes itself was kind of there a lot of the time, and
he had to battle the loss of DRS in this Grand Prix, didn't he, as well? There was some sort of issue,
I thought it was just a transponder issue. It's like actually the car was fine.
But he couldn't use DRS, right? Because of that?
He definitely did also have, that was the thing, But
I think it meant he couldn't open the DRS.
Or it was manual.
When he was going over the line, something like that. They had to tell him when to do it. Was odd, but he definitely had a problem that he had to mitigate.
Yeah. Also, Max Verstappen spots that Lando Norris is over his grid box in this Grand Prix.
Nothing gets past him.
Nothing gets past Max Verstappen. And that penalty kind of cost him in this race.
I've heard that in the off-season they employ him at Wimbledon to be Hawkeye.
Verstappen is Hawkeye. I love that.
Yeah, he sits there at the ring. Also, Haas double points finish. Behrman's cooking today.
That's a good point, actually. So Ocon pits like really early in this race, because of course he does, he's at Haas. Which kind of works out. And then Behrman's also, you're right, Behrman's in that mix too. Good start to the year for Haas at this stage. Also, Alpine are actually okay here. And it's like because they were okay in pre-season testing, and then they weren't any good for the first 3 races. We show up to the same place that we went to for pre-season testing. They're okay again. And it turns out this is the only track they can do all year. So, yeah.
Also, this is Yuki Tsunoda's first points in a Red Bull.
Very good point. Yes, very good point.
Lots more to come.
Yeah.
So many more. They're going to come tumbling in, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Right, let's take our first break on this episode. On the other side, we're going to kick off with the Saudi Arabian GP. Welcome back, everyone. Time to go to race 5, that being the Saudi Arabian GP. And no one can stop Oscar Piastri. He takes victory again. But this time, Sam, there's a bit of an incident at turn 1.
There is. We have one of the first debates about, leaving the track, getting advantage, giving it back, not giving it back. Time penalty was awarded, of course, to Max Verstappen. And I believe he served it in the pits, right? And that means he gets functionally, drops too far back. But Oscar Piastri just carries on this dominant form that he's able to pick up, even with the issue of what Max is doing. And of course, we had a lot of debate about that at the time. Oscar Piastri is just so dominant again. It feels like he's really gotten into the groove of what he's doing in this championship at this point.
And he's taking advantage, Harry, of some issues that are popping up for Lando Norris. We know he didn't have a smooth Bahrain weekend, and here he crashes in Q3, which causes him a lot more work to do on the Sunday than he would have hoped.
Yeah, my 3 notes from Saudi are Piastri on great form, not a great race from Norris, and Verstappen's hanging on. Norris didn't make a lot of progress from, he started P10?
P9 or P10. Yeah, it was the bottom of Q3.
Didn't make many inroads really into that. Not a bumpy weekend for him.
He was in for no, I'm not going to do that.
Nope.
I didn't have too much on this. I stand by that. I don't think Verstappen was in the wrong here. But I appreciate I'm in the minority with that one. Bortoletto nearly puts his manager in the wall.
Oh yeah, but Alonso's response is so like, whoa,
that was close.
But we did the wheel in Canada.
Yeah, and basically that, but in verbal form. If it had been anyone else, he'd have been swearing down the radio. Because Bortoletto, that was close. Whoa.
Also, Charles Leclerc got a bit of a belter in comparison to Lewis Hamilton in this race. He was so far in front of him, I thought.
Yeah, classic Ferrari.
Yeah, good. Well done.
Sainz and Albon work quite effectively as a team as well. So they are holding off, I believe, Isaac Hadjar to secure 8th and 9th place. So an early opportunity to see both Williams sort of fighting together to claim really good points in a race. Saudi Arabia.
Finished right next to each other.
Yeah. Anything else on Saudi Arabia?
Nah, I hate that race.
Do you?
Saudi.
I've never heard that before.
It's just below Qatar.
Shocking. Miami. Now, before we get into the main race, just a quick note on Kimi Antonelli, who does a very good job in sprint qualifying.
Yeah, I guess it's, you can't really call it a pole, but yeah, first start of the front
top of
award.
The qualifying session.
Yeah. But yeah, the delivering on the pace that we were hoping to see from Antonelli is a very impressive showing, actually.
We have Norris versus Verstappen into turn 1 and sort of through turn 2 and turn 3 after that, with Norris getting squeezed out. And ultimately that kind of hampered him quite a lot in this Grand Prix. Again, sort of not... Is it Norris not knowing what Verstappen's going to do there?
It definitely, I think there were some moments of trauma coming back from the previous season when they went wheel to wheel with each other. And of course, Norris more than once was run straight off the side of the road, Mexico being a prime example of that. There's walls at Miami. Mexico, you got a bit more run off. But yeah, I think he was a little hesitant to get past Max Verstappen. Of course, the way that Piastri opened up this Grand Prix, he was able to just run off into the distance. So by that point, no matter how fast Norris was, the gap was never really coming down.
I wrote Verstappen schooling Norris at turn 1. Look, whether you agree with the way he goes racing or not, Verstappen's never going to let him stay there. He should have backed out of that one.
And ultimately, Verstappen, whilst it qualified quite well, that car wasn't quick enough here. And Piastri got by a lot more clinically than Lando Norris did. And that's a huge part of the reason why he goes on to another win. Number 4 overall and 3 in a row for Oscar Piastri. Outside of that, Ferrari are now battling Williams. Alex Albon finishes P5 ahead of both of them. And this is the race where we get the tea break radio from Lewis Hamilton.
Might also be coming up later on in the week.
I think that the LBs may just be a selection of radio messages from Lewis Hamilton and no other awards.
It's fine by me.
Don't mind that.
That man was so fed up from day one. It's the way he's like, Sykes 1.4 behind. Want me to let him pass as well?
Yeah.
No one else come through?
I also just noticed down Alonso got bored, so he spun.
He did just spin.
He did that a few times, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm bored.
Yeah. I had two other notes here. Firstly, Carlos Sainz tries a move. I can't remember if it was on Hamilton or Leclerc late on in this race. But Sainz tries a move and it's never on into like that last, not quite the last corner, but the last sort of break. Yeah. And it's never on. Almost goes into the side of the Ferrari and he goes over team radio. He moved a bit under braking there, and it's not on. Like I respect it, but it's not on. Other thing,
come all the way back from Tennessee.
Yeah, he might as well have done. Like the other note as well. I'm not a man for special liveries, but the V-Carb special livery here might have been the best one of the year.
Ooh, is this the pink one?
Yeah, the Miami coloured sort of.
It's a beauty, absolute beauty.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what isn't a special livery that I enjoyed here. Ferrari, more blue from HP.
Yeah.
It's terrible, isn't it?
Oh, Ferrari.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Anyway, we go back to Europe for the next race, or I should say for the first time. We go to Europe and we're at the Emilia GP. I'm not going to call it by its proper name. San Marino Grand Prix.
San Marino,
There we go.
It's looking pretty good for Oscar Piastri yet again. Challenging for the lead or holding the lead going into the first corner, looking for 4 wins in a row. There's a rogue Verstappen around the outside.
Oh, the filth of that move. Have you heard David Coulthard's reaction to that move?
Yes.
He claims to have an out-of-body experience watching that move. It's so good.
Yeah. Freaking outrageous, that move. It's so, whether he meant to do it or not, but he is so far back.
Yeah.
He is so far back when they get to that first corner. Like, he's not even a bit alongside. He's fully behind. Mm-hmm. He's alongside Russell, not alongside Piastri.
He does too, essentially.
Filthy.
Well, I wanted to talk about Russell as well in relation to that first corner instant, because he gets a really good start, but it's kind of boxed in. And I feel like everyone appreciates the greatness of that move, apart from George Russell, who has a bit more experience racing Verstappen than Piastri does. And you could just tell by his radio message, you can't let him do that. He might as well have said that.
Yeah, he's like, come on, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Russell has to try and hold off Lando Norris. I think a pretty underrated overtake for the year, actually, was Norris getting by Russell.
Into the second chicane.
That was a good one, I thought.
Yeah, had to get it done as well, because that championship was starting to fall away from this early point in the season.
Yeah, indeed. And we have a bit of a debate here about whether it's going to be a 2-stop race or a 1-stop race. So Piastri pits quite early, sort of maybe goaded into a 2-stop strategy, whereas Verstappen and Norris keep going, and the tyres actually end up being a bit more durable than the teams expect here. Piastri kind of doesn't end up on the right side of this one.
No, it's well, not for the last time, I guess, this year. But yeah, look, I know Imola's gone off the calendar and it didn't always produce the greatest race. This one's all right. Yeah, it's not a bad little race, this one.
Strategically, it was fun. It was fun to watch.
Like we say, when you get a different strategies, variety of strategies, interesting race. Yeah.
But there were almost 2 camps, weren't there, throughout the race? Like Piastri was leading in camp 2, that was going to do this 2-stop, and then camp 1 where we could just hold on. And the likes of the Norris and Verstappen were driving off into the distance, and Piastri was desperate to try and make this 2-stop work. It just fell the wrong way for him.
Yeah, it did. And you had like drivers like Fernando Alonso and Aston Martin overall have really good pace here. And the strategy just doesn't go his way. Nothing's going his way at the moment. And it carries on into this weekend with that strategy call, at which point he calls himself the unluckiest driver, which might be accurate for the year. Who knows?
Same race he's trying to get. I think he's trying to get past Sonoda. It's like nearing the last lap, and he gets it wrong coming out of the hairpin. And he's so annoyed. He's like slapping himself in the face as he's driving up the hill.
When he's like racing P11 or something. It's just dismal. The only other note here I had, Sam, is that we've got Ferrari versus Williams again. Albon and Leclerc have contact going into the first chicane, which Leclerc is, as you say, with those 2 camps of drivers, Leclerc is kind of the one that's holding on versus Hamilton and Albon, who have the better strategy at this point.
Yeah, it's again just the way that the Ferrari's really started to flounder in this kind of early mid part of the season. We're starting to see what it's really made of. And it's basically a midfield car that has some slightly better races than everyone else around it. That's all it is at this point. And Williams are probably in one of their better spells. I think they are going through a good portion of this. Albon is really on top of things. Sainz is just starting to get to grips with the car, and that's proving a real handful for Ferrari.
Monaco's up next. We're probably going to get annoyed about some of this, so let's just focus on the positive bits first. Lando Norris is in need of a really good weekend. Delivers it.
Delivers, yeah. Pole, win.
It's just no fuss.
Can't ask for more, to be honest.
Yeah. Leclerc and Ferrari actually have a reasonably good weekend here as they come home second place with Piastri in third. But I think the biggest talking point, Sam, is this, I'm not going to shy away from it, two-stop nonsense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course. A mandatory two-stop applied for the first time. And with the aim to try and spruce up the entertainment and the fact that pits and everything that caused drama at Monaco. And yet immediately, it looks like Racing Bulls have found a loophole in the system by one of them backing up every driver on the racetrack, and then the next one backing up every driver on the racetrack, and they've just allowed to stop into that free air. And then every other team going, oh, we'll do the same thing, actually. It just ruins it immediately. It was not fun. It was forced, and it was painful.
Do you know how stupid this was? Again, Racing Bulls. Hadjar pits twice under green flag conditions. Liam Lawson is backing up the field. He does 2 pit stops in 20 laps and comes out ahead of Lawson.
I forgot about the that tactic. Yeah, stupid tactic that was.
So it's going, what, 2 seconds a lap slower, second and a half a lap slower than everyone else to back everyone up?
Well, was Albon doing the same? Because is that where Russell cut the chicane?
Well, they all did it. They literally all did the same thing. Yeah, then Russell got after this.
Yeah, Russell genuinely just goes, I'll take the penalty. I cannot be here anymore, which I kind of appreciated. But yeah, very good weekend for Lando Norris out front at a very opportune time. Race number 9 is the Spanish GP. Piastri looking to bounce back versus Lando Norris. Delivers on that.
Yeah, good race.
This might be one of his best races of the season, actually. I think he handles a lot of risk really well. There's safety cars involved. But slightly further back, of course, we see the red mist descend over Max Verstappen's eyes for the first time in a little while, it feels like.
Well, yeah, Red Bull are trying something a bit different here, as they are at pretty much every Grand Prix, just to see what they can do. I don't really know what's that say? 3 stop?
3 stop.
They're trying 3 stops. Okay, they're trying 3 stops. Which I think was a good tactic, apart from the fact that a late safety car made an appearance, at which point they don't have any tyres left. So he's on a set of hard tyres versus much better soft and medium tyres for the rest of the field. And Verstappen very nearly drops it coming out on that safety car restart.
It all just, from that point, goes downhill. The red mist does descend, but I think for very little reason, having rewatched this, I know it gets a bit hairy down at turn 1, so he misses it, and that's why they're saying give it back to Russell. But apart from, I think it's pure frustration from the fact that he doesn't have any tyres, so he's having to defend, and then he loses the spot at turn 1, and then he has to give it back to Russell, and it all just goes a bit pear-shaped from there.
I think it's an accumulation. I think it is the strategy going wrong, then it's the near spin, then it's the turn 1 incident. At this point, it's just all of those small little things have happened in the space of about a minute. And we obviously get the infamous contact, Sam. I know this was asked of Max Verstappen after the Abu Dhabi GP as to whether this defined the championship, which Verstappen wasn't very happy about being asked that. But I guess you can point to a number of different incidents throughout the year, right?
That's life, right? That is life. Things can go a different way at any different point. And you could single out one event and go, well, that was what's sold it to me or cost me it, whatever you want to call it. And if you can live like that, sure. But I think overall he is right to go, look, I made a mistake, but there are a number of other things that could have happened that also could have helped me or hindered me. It's not just a one singular event. So I think his understanding of it now, the way he approaches it now, is a much better and mature way of dealing with it. I'm not sure he dealt with it in that way as it was happening.
Well, an opportunity to redeem himself at the Canadian GP. We'll hit this one before our next break. And so far this year, we've got used to either Piastri, Norris, or Verstappen taking wins. And suddenly, in the heat of Canada, Mercedes have shown up.
I mean, Sure. For no reason.
Why are you here?
Russell was glad that they were, though, because he took advantage.
He did. They brought this upgrade to the rear of their car, and it looks like, from the talks that the Mercedes engineers have given, something about the tarmac and the way that the tarmac is laid at Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve just worked perfectly with the way that the rear suspension operated with the tyres, and it just clicked. It didn't work anywhere else, as we're about to go and see. But here, it meant that George Russell was able to produce one of his best races and takes his first victory of the season.
Well, it did work in Singapore, to be fair.
That's true.
But everywhere else, no.
I mean, still 2 out of 24. It's not great. Yeah, I don't have too much more to say on George Russell, just because he
ran off.
Yeah, he dominates here. His teammate also puts together a good showing.
Yeah, good weekend. Probably his strongest so far for Antonelli. Obviously, he'd had that high in sprint quali in Miami, but this one was, I think, definitely his most competitive showing. I think and this is completely fair because it's his first year, when the car has been good to drive, I think generally Antonelli has been there or thereabouts with Russell. When the car's been hard to drive, Russell's had a bigger gap, and that's completely fair because he's got more experience. He had to drive a Williams for 3 or 4 years. So I think this was a weekend where the car was better and it clicked for Antonelli as well.
And he became Grande Kimi.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No.
The small Kimi become the Grande Kimi.
How did we get Toto on the podcast?
Toto, welcome.
He calls it all the time. I'm good friends.
I was gone again. Okay.
Yeah, he's got many other hats to wear.
We're bringing that one up in a bit.
I wouldn't worry. I think Sam will have plenty of opportunity to speak to guests in his house at some point today. I feel like...
Yeah, do you know what? Such a valid point, son. Such a valid point.
I feel like that might be coming. Norris and Piastri, all year they've kind of been trading wins, and we've been asking the question, when are they actually going to fight on track? Sam, here.
Here is the answer, and it resulted exactly how we thought it would, with a crash. Norris straight into the back of Piastri, but fair play to him. His reaction, actually, I think, is maybe one of the best bits of radio from McLaren all season. Puts his hands up and goes, "That's my fault." Genuinely honest, fair, open. My fault. I made a mistake. We move on with it. It doesn't cost Piastri. He was never going to go on to win this race anyway, and the McLaren just didn't seemingly have the pace for the first time this season. Unfortunately, it's cost Norris big time.
Okay, let's go to our second break on this episode. On the other side, the hills are alive with the sound of F1 as we go to Austria.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, no worries. Welcome back. Round 11, the Austrian GP. Norris looking to bounce back versus Oscar Piastri. And again, we get a good fight between the two of them here.
Yeah, it was. I forgot about the fight in this one. And actually, given the context of the last race, I think that hyped it up even more. But there was some good racing between the two of them at this one. Piastri tried one rash little dive, but
what did they say about it? It was like it falls outside of
combat guidelines.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Well, you wait till Hungary then, McLaren. But enjoyable to watch.
Yeah. We have a fewer contenders in this one, Sam. You've got the two McLarens fighting out front, but because of Antonelli and Verstappen coming together on the first lap, it kind of allows positions 3 through 5, Leclerc, Hamilton, Russell, to kind of just work itself out.
Yeah, unfortunately, it kind of cost us what could have been a really fun battle for that podium selection where this kind of eased itself into bigger gaps. But this was the first race that we suddenly realised that the McLaren doesn't really go through its tyres very quickly at all. The fact that Piastri hung on to the back of Norris for half the Grand Prix within a second in the heat of Austria as well. That car at this point is a beast to go up against.
A very good win for Lando Norris to bounce back from Canada, hold off Oscar Piastri, take that win. Like I say, the Ferraris are kind of okay, but we don't really see much of them throughout the race. George Russell and Mercedes, 2 weeks after Canada, are just rubbish. Like, they're not that far ahead of the midfield in this one. Speaking of the midfield, Alonso and Bortoleto. Alonso gives Bortoleto one of his many lessons for the year.
Lesson 1 was here, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good to watch, though.
And also, Yuki Tsunoda and Franco Colapinto fighting over P76 as Piastri tries to lap them. And Colapinto thinks, all right, put you in the wall, mate.
Yeah.
Just no space for the championship leader at all. You know what? You're one of us back here, I'm sure. I bet you love P76, he's thinking.
I realised this is the where Piastri, which wasn't broadcast, Piastri came on the radio and said, even after all these years, Alpine still find a way to bleep me.
Yeah.
What a great line that is.
So sassy. Also, Antonelli murders Verstappen on that one.
Yes, that was... And Antonelli was kind of like... he accepted blame for it, but not like 100%. Like, he was... It's my fault, but it wasn't an error, kind of.
It was my fault, but get over it.
Yeah.
I thought, but also Max should have moved.
Yeah, what's he in the way for?
Yeah, God.
Another thing that at the time we didn't know how consequential that might have been. That's points gone.
Okay, so you can blame that as Spain because we won without that.
There you go, people. Use that one instead. Round 12, the British GP. I don't know where to start with this one.
Oh, good Lord. This one had everything. Absolute chaos from start to finish. The weather, British summer. There you go. Beautiful.
Yeah. Should we start on the formation lap, which feels like a weird place to start with these reviews, but there was even attention drawn to the formation lap due to the likes of Leclerc and Russell coming in so they came in for dry tyres where most of the grid is starting on the Inters.
Yeah, bold call. We're still quite damp out there.
As they found out.
Yeah. Not the right call. Yeah.
It's not work.
No. Leclerc is a stinker. Like,
I think there's one point he's doing a team radio and he's got his eyes are slightly open to stop condensation. And he just gets splashed in the face with water. It's like, he's having a really tough day, Charles.
Should have just pulled over at that point, I think. Like, I'm done.
But Nico Hülkenberg, on the other hand,
yes,
not having a bad day.
Finally, after making his debut in 2010, gets on the podium for a first time. What a moment!
Huge moment, and I think everyone was delighted to see.
Lando.
My whole body cringes.
Yeah, fully deserved. And he was brilliant this day. Actually, has always been good in these sorts of conditions, and obviously never really been able to deliver. But finally, he did
in that car. Out of all the cars,
and held off. I know Ferrari aren't brilliant, but this year, but still held off Hamilton.
Yeah,
at Silverstone.
Yeah,
not bad. He and Lance Stroll get a bit lucky with the strategy here. Hülkenberg takes advantage of it, and Stroll kind of just fades away quite quickly.
Drama at the front as well, right? Because we had Piastri under the safety car get himself a penalty for kind of improper driving, stopping, starting, essentially, and just Max then loop it at the restart.
He does, yeah. That Red Bull, I know they took the wing out, and that's how he got pole. Disgusting.
Yeah,
it looks disgusting.
That's a dry setup, man.
That's so awful.
It's got a tea tray on the back.
It's so bad.
Yeah, it's not great. But again, pretty consequential. You have one championship rival spinning, one getting a penalty, and Lando Norris takes victory at his home Grand Prix as a result of that.
There was a good win for Norris as well. A lot going on that day.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Held his own.
I mean, evidence of that was the year before, right? Where he was in the mix, but came up a little bit short, made an error going a bit deep into his pit box that year. Sort of resolves it with this one. Very good win. Round 13, the Belgian GP. My overriding feeling going into this one was annoyance because we were there for... I don't remember how long we were there for.
Days,
waiting for this race to start until the point where it was basically dry.
Every time we go to Spa, there's some kind of annoyance with the wet weather tyre.
I'm just so annoyed how long that took to get that race going. But again, this is something that was on one of our posts on Instagram. We waited so long that it was basically dry when we started, in which case that took all the strategy out of it because they just changed onto dries and that was it.
You're right, but how did we start this race? A rolling start! It was dry!
So annoying.
Anyway, when we do get going in this one, Sam, Oscar Piastri needing to make a move on Lando Norris, sort of going up Eau Rouge and Raidillon. He nails this one.
My guy knows exactly where to put his car and he knows exactly how to get through that corner. He flies. This is a great throwdown. He's throwing the mantle down at Lando Norris's feet. He gets the job done. This is to show him, I'm annoyed after Silverstone. This is a great way to bounce back at this point.
And of course, even with Oscar Piastri getting that move done, this race wasn't over because whilst everyone, and I mean literally everyone apart from Lando Norris, goes onto the medium tyres, McLaren roll the dice with Lando Norris to put him on the hard tyre. It was looking like that might be the right call as Lando Norris was kind of gaining on Piastri, but made quite a few errors in those sort of closing laps to never really get within a shot.
Yeah, he goes off at poo one, doesn't he? Has a big old poo because it was a bit of a moment.
It was.
Funny call again.
Ooh, joke.
Joke.
Ooh, joke. Every year.
But then regains that time that he loses, and we get into the final few laps, and then he has a moment at La Source at the first corner as well, so loses it all over again, so that was game over.
Yeah, it felt like there was an opportunity for him to at least have a go in the last couple of laps if he properly nailed that stint, and I don't think he quite does. But again, McLaren, pretty good here. Verstappen was able to fight them and indeed win in the sprint race, but not in the main race. Round 14, slightly controversial one, the Hungarian GP. Again, a slight difference in strategy between the McLarens, Sam. We've got Lando Norris, who's trying to fight back a bit, go onto a one-stop strategy. Piastri leading the way on a two-stop. It looks like maybe Lando Norris, with nothing to lose, has gained here.
Yeah, this is almost has a whiff of Imola, where they've tried something that in theory should work for them with Piastri, and it's got a little pear-shaped, and Lando Norris has come out smelling the roses a little bit. For me, the biggest talk here is Charles Leclerc and that Ferrari, though, because it felt like
he's on pole.
Might have actually been.
He's
I know,
on pole.
that's what I'm saying. But where's it come from? Where's that come from? We might have finally got our fourth team winner, of course, Russell, Verstappen, both McLarens, and the car breaks. He's having to drive with a broken car for the last, 30 laps. Ridiculously unlucky.
Some questionable defending from Charles.
I don't care. I'll allow it.
I'll allow the violence on this occasion.
Semi-attempted murder.
Leclerc versus Russell has been an underrated rivalry this year. They've had a few moments.
A few ding-dongs.
Yeah, I don't think Russell's been particularly impressed by Leclerc's defense and attack throughout this year. This is one of those. But you're right, Sam. Like for the first half of this Grand Prix, it looks like Ferrari are legitimately in the fight for a win here. Sure, Piastri's keeping pace with Leclerc, but he's still there. And then the second half of this race completely, it just completely goes to, I can't say that word.
That's a poo on.
Yes.
Poo on.
Aston Martin have some pace here.
It's all that downforce, mate.
Yeah.
All that high downforce. One boy Alonso's in like fourth.
Star update.
Yeah, well, they brought the star update to Hungary, which is good.
But both of them were good here.
Yeah, they're a strong weekend. It was the trend for the year, wasn't it? Any high downforce circuit, they actually had some decent pace at. I can't remember where Alonso finished. Was it fifth or sixth, seventh?
It was better than seventh, maybe sixth. Sounds right.
But both of them were in the points.
Yeah. And this is to your point earlier when we were talking about Suzuka and how good that Verstappen pole lap was there because it typically doesn't suit their car. Hungary's fairly similar to Suzuka in a number of ways, and they are awful here. This might be, in terms of pure competitiveness, their worst weekend. Verstappen finishes ninth.
Yeah, Verstappen gets ninth, but Liam Lawson shows what he can do. I think this is his third top 10 finish in a row at this point, and he's only a couple of points behind Hadjar. So it looks like the tables are starting to turn, and he's taking it to his real rookie teammate. But at this point, we're writing Verstappen out of the championship a little bit here. It's kind of like if the Red Bull's this bad and he can't pull something out of it around a track like Hungary, then it's almost game over for him.
Dutch GP is up next. Piastri returns to form here. A big old lead in the championship coming out of this one is 34 points in the favour of Oscar Piastri because whilst he goes on to victory, Lando Norris has the one and would soon to be only mechanical DNF of McLaren's year.
Yeah, tough one for Norris. He may not have been going on to win this one, but to lose 25 points to Piastri, we were obviously at this point thinking Verstappen was up because he was 104 points down by this point. And yeah, then Norris also drops 25 points to his own teammate. So it was a tough one for him.
I stand by my comments of the opening lap, by the way, here, where Verstappen is nearly sideways going into and trying to make an overtake happen, which, by the way, bless him, it's a completely pointless overtake because
he does it for the love of the game.
That Red Bull is awful when he gets overtaken like 7 laps later or something. But I said I would, if it was possible to make love to an overtake, I would have done. And my opinion has not changed.
That is the top tier on Patreon, by the way. We will sell that if that ever happens.
10 grand a month.
Ben making love to overtakes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a 10 grand of view project. Also, 2 incredible rookie performances here. Isaac Hadjar picks up his first podium after qualifying brilliantly. And Ollie Behrman, I think, goes from pit lane to 6th place.
Yeah. I particularly want to shout out Hadjar here because sometimes you look at a midfield car getting a podium and you think, okay, what's happened to get them there? He's legitimately in sort of around that fight. He didn't need too much to happen in order to get 3rd place. I thought that was a really great result.
Goes well for Ferrari as well.
Yeah, Ferrari, that's a good one. So Leclerc makes an overtake on Russell, which is a pretty audacious one. That's the positive. And then the negative is Hamilton crashes in some light rain and Antonelli destroys Leclerc.
At the same corner.
At the same corner.
Yeah, I thought one of us had a bold prediction about them not qualifying inside. Maybe you said they wouldn't qualify inside of the top 10. They need to actually finish inside the top 10.
That's right, yeah.
Sounds true.
Yeah. I think that's probably about it for the Dutch GP. Italian GP was up after this one. Verstappen hasn't won since the last time we were in Italy, in Imola. And yet Red Bull, with an upgrade, seem to have turned the corner.
Well, yeah, and like we said earlier on, they seem to do well at these circuits where it's high speed, Monza being the temple of said speed. So yeah, he obviously gets pole. Not the best start. He doesn't do turn 1 or turn 2, I guess. So has to relinquish the lead to Norris. But it takes like 3 laps and he's back in front again.
Yeah.
I think that was a sign then that this was going to be
we don't see him again after that.
No, it's one of those afternoons for Verstappen.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, very much bye-bye. Which gave us more time to look at the battle between the McLarens, Sam. And this was a pretty important moment in the championship. Again, going into this race, Piastri has a 34-point lead over Lando Norris. And with the race coming to its end, he has a lead over his teammate as a result of a botched pit stop from Lando Norris. It takes 6 seconds. So a decision has to be made. He is asked, let Lando Norris by. He does it, but even back then we were debating, should he have done?
Yeah, and in hindsight, you could kind of see that this was almost the first pebble to start the rock fall of bad form for Oscar Piastri. If he had just walked away with a points advantage of any kind over Lando Norris, who knows what this might have meant for the rest of the season? The fact that that wobble from Antonelli in Qatar that allows Norris to get through and secure 4th place might not have been enough for him to get 3rd in Abu Dhabi. It really would have been that close to meaning that Norris could finish on 3rd in the final race of the season. But Piastri played the team game, and that's when we started to get sick to death of hearing papaya rules.
The other thing I was sick to death of hearing that I'd forgotten about until 30 seconds ago, and well done, you've got another great eye roll from me because this was the fastest race ever.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Cool. Great record, bro.
Cool. The only thing that wound me up more in this race was Ollie Behrman getting that 10-second time penalty.
Oh, goodness me.
What on earth? Like,
yeah. There were a few, because the race before in Zandvoort, Sainz, I know this one wasn't, but Sainz got a penalty, 10-second penalty for existing. There were some bad stewarding choices in those past couple of races.
Yeah. But even with the Piastri and Norris position swap, Piastri is still in a very good spot in the championship at this stage as we head to Baku, which is not a good weekend for the man. No, if you want a lesson in how not to do an F1 race weekend, Oscar Piastri delivers the perfect lesson. Yeah. Jump start, crashes like 5 corners later.
Yeah. Also crashing in quali.
Yeah.
say, terrible qualifying. Oh, I'll give it another go on Sunday. Oh, no, I won't, because I won't even do half a lap.
And he
could not.
He made Fernando Alonso jump the start as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's on him.
Yeah.
Entirely.
And that was the only point Alonso all year just went, that's on my bad. I tell you what, though, even though Piastri has a very rough day, Sam Lando Norris's day isn't that much better.
This is a premium opportunity. After the DNF through an engine failure in Zandvoort, after the crash in Canada, he's been begging for a chance to capitalise on Oscar Piastri not scoring points, because he's been on a points run for every race of the season so far. And now he's got a golden opportunity to rake back 25 points. Does he do it? No. No, he doesn't. And I think this is properly squandered. And there is a real risk that, of course, we now know what we do, that he may have really come to pay the price for not winning this Grand Prix at one point.
Further back, shout out to Carlos Sainz getting his first podium for Williams. Sorry, first Wodium for Williams.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. And Antonelli tries to kill George Russell.
Oh, yeah. No respect. None.
I think Russell does a good job to get back to P2, to be fair. He puts in a really good stint after that. But yeah, he very nearly ends up in the wall at turn 1.
Would you like a side order of wall?
Yeah. Quote Antonelli.
The best waiter on the grid.
Singapore GP is up for that. And Mercedes are good again.
Sure.
Yes. The great form breaker that is Singapore.
Why were they good?
Honestly, I can't give you an answer.
Weirdly, even in their dominant era, Singapore was always like their Achilles heel as well, like generally. So why are they good now?
Well, it makes sense, actually. It makes sense. Now
opposite.
They're yeah. Now they're really good. That's why Max Verstappen can't win there.
Might be the reason. Russell, similar to his Canada win, is just left to go out and win the race. I think it might have been more interesting if the McLaren was able to get by Verstappen, because I think Norris might have had the pace to take it to George Russell, but he was desperately trying to get past Verstappen and couldn't do so. Of course, again, on the McLarens, there's some lap 1 contact here.
There is, and we go through the annoying phrase of there will be repercussions.
That last a week.
Yeah, because he does it literally back to him on the next race.
What I forgot that this annoyed me so much at the time. The precedent that had been set by McLaren behind the scenes when this happens, and it was clumsy and messy, and Norris does barge him out the way. But Piastri's on the radio straight away going, "Well, that's not within the rules, so he should be given that back." I'm just like, this is not how we go racing.
He calls him a team player, doesn't he? So that's not being a team player or something like that. Because after what happened in Monza, that's not being a team player.
Zach Brown wrote that one down, didn't he? Like, I'm going to use that one against you when you lose the championship. That's what Zach Brown said.
Well, for being a team player.
Dance. The funny thing is, McLaren actually win the Constructors' Championship here.
They do.
So, they were always going to win it, but they wrap it up here at least.
What a sad little life, Zach.
Yeah. And Alonso tries his best to get in contention for Team Radio of the year.
Oh, is this the unplugging the radio?
Yeah,
I will disconnect.
And then he's raging because Lewis Hamilton's just cutting every corner because he's got no break.
I forgot about that.
He's absolutely raging at him.
Hamilton's just like doing a straight line for the last 3 laps.
Singapore is a straight to Hamilton. And Alonso is seething.
Oh, man.
Did Hamilton get a penalty for that at the end? I can't remember.
I think he did. Yeah. Oh, boy. I think he only got like 5 seconds or so. It wasn't that big of a penalty. Anyway,
Sorry, producer Gus, you just sent through the radio message.
I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it.
Alonso loves, I cannot believe it.
There's a word missing in there. But
I like the question at the end. Is it safe to drive with no brakes? No, Fernando.
Yes, it is actually. Thank God you've asked.
Right. Singapore GP, that's in the books. We'll take our final break on this episode, and then on the other side, we've got a few more races to get to. Welcome back, everyone, to the final part of the 2025 season review. And we head to, quite literally, the United States Grand Prix, as we were of course there in person in Austin. I don't know if the listeners know that. We haven't really mentioned
that.
No.
Right, that never comes up.
Yeah, it's our third one as well.
I think this is a good one for us to have been at, not only because Austin's brilliant, but because I don't think this race was very good, but a race is always pretty good when you're in person.
Yeah, and also we were sat at all the action points.
Yeah.
I realised when I watched the highlights of this, it's turn 12 and then turn 15 where literally anything happened. So, yeah. It was, for us, it was dramatic to watch, but yeah, not the most exciting, but Verstappen again.
3 out of 4 dominant wins.
Boom.
Yeah.
I think at this point he's closed the gap to like 60 points to the guys in front. It's like 104 or something, like 3 races before. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's getting there. He's getting there.
Ferrari are kind of okay.
Yeah, well, strategically, Leclerc starts on the soft tyre, right, where everyone else starts on the medium tyre. And it kind of works. Until the point where Hamilton and Leclerc have the most pointless battle for one lap. Why they didn't just wait
hold
for
each
it.
other up?
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, of course. I forget this is the season where they can't communicate to let each other go at any points and just hold each other. Like I think Miami also had this where they were just stuck behind each other for a few laps and finally they let each other past.
Yes, yeah. And Norris has to overtake Leclerc twice in order to get P2. But that was quite an entertaining battle to see Norris having to fight to get that spot. And then a little bit further back, as you mentioned, where we were, we could see pretty much all the action at this Grand Prix because you've got Carlos Sainz making a move on Ollie Behrman at turn 15, which triggers 2 things. Number 1, Carlos Sainz to try the same move again on Antonelli and it doesn't work. The other thing it triggers is Behrman thinks, that's a good move. I'll try that one as well on Yuki Tsunoda. And he spins. He's only like 2 points off a race back.
Yeah, we had a whole conversation in our preview about how he's going to get banned and they might have to bring someone else in. Also, the Sykes Antonelli one, he just punts him. He just drives straight into the back of him. See you later, Kimmy. Off you pop.
No, he turned in on him. Quote.
Okay, Carlos.
But for Verstappen, another dominant win. Round 20, Mexican GP. Speaking of dominant, this is, at least in terms of seconds, the second margin that you've got. Lando Norris, is it just over 30 seconds he wins this Grand Prix by Sam? He utterly dominates it.
This, in terms of outright domination of a Grand Prix, I think is his best Grand Prix ever in terms of outright wins. I'm not saying it's his best performance ever, but in terms of lead margin, it is by far his biggest. This is where we start to realize that Oscar Piastri might definitely be in trouble and the form is not going the way that he needs it to go. We're also denying something really, really fun because, of course, a last-minute VSC was called out due to, was it Carlos Sainz's car stuck right by the wall in the third sector?
Stuck. Yeah, sure. We had the lap 1 chaos or turn 1 chaos.
Yeah.
And then later on, we just had Verstappen and Hamilton just deciding not really to do many of the corners for a lap.
And Behrman saying, all right then.
Ciao.
I'll have a couple of spots.
Ciao.
He goes on to P4 in this race. Leclerc, meanwhile, has to hold off Verstappen thanks to that VSC. And he does for second place and then third place. Verstappen and Red Bull basically declaring their strategy over Team Red. I listened to this back and GP is kind of there saying one stop, are we on a 1 stop or a 2 stop? And the message is intended clearly not for Verstappen and not for broadcast and for someone else. The more I listen to, the more I think this is intentional. I think it might be.
I'm too hat on. I've always thought that. They're playing a game. They're being clever, I think. Entirely being clever.
It worked.
It's never happened before. Would
GP be that uncertain about whether it's a 1 or a 2 stop?
No. When has he ever been uncertain? Ever. They are playing Ferrari and McLaren at this point.
Maybe GP knows nothing. And it's just Hannah Schmidt.
He's just a puppet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Someone's telling him what to say on the radio.
She has a really good bald English man impression. Also, George Russell being very sassy on the radio.
Yeah, good shout. Yeah.
You know, you want me to let him pass? Go, thanks. Just checking.
And then he gets past and doesn't really do anything.
Actually, it's a good race for George Russell radio, because this is when he screams at Marcus, his engineer, that he's got a car up his.
That's the same. Yes, that's the same radio. And then obviously Antonelli actually has a good Grand Prix and beats Russell.
Yes, yeah, because as soon as Russell can't make the overtake, they decide to switch him back again. Round 21, the Brazilian GP. Norris again. Norris really responds at this point in the season when Verstappen has started to emerge again as a contender. Piastri's gone off the boil a bit. The opportunity is there for Lando Norris to take advantage, and here's another instance where he does.
Yeah, this is just 2 in a row, real hardcore blows to Piastri's championship lead. Any hope that Max Verstappen might get back into this right at the death of the season, whilst we got a good fight all the way to the end, it was Norris's couple of races in this part of the season that really stopped any really decisive blow for the other two in the fight. And when you say Piastri is off the boil, mate, he's more in the fridge at this point. You know, he's cool to the touch. There is no form coming out of that half in the McLaren garage. He's on a run of 4 races at this point? 5th in a row, something like that. It's crazy bag form for a championship leader.
Of course, he's derailed by a 10-second time penalty that he gets on the safety car restart that sees the retirement of Charles Leclerc, who was just a passenger in all this. At the time, I think we were a bit uncertain as to whether the right person was penalised.
Yeah, I still don't think it should have been Piastri's penalty here. Antonelli's, but probably more a racing incident. It was just 3 into 1 at Brazil is never going to happen, and it didn't. I don't blame. The thing is, the annoying thing about this is that the stewards just, I think, have seen the lockup from Piastri and gone, well, he was out of control. But he wasn't. He was squeezed, and I think he's just trying desperately not to, at that point, not to have any contact. So an unfair one on Piastri, I think.
And Verstappen, pit lane to podium, not too shabby.
Does it again?
Obviously,
does it again.
Yeah,
incredible
even with a puncture as well. A slow puncture.
Yeah.
God, what a boy. He can drive a car.
You know what? He can drive a car. You're absolutely right. Antonelli does a very good job holding him off for that second place, but the fact that even Verstappen was there is pretty crazy. 3 to go. Las Vegas GP. Verstappen really needs a result over the McLarens to get back into this, and he doesn't really get it until he does. Double disqualification for McLaren. One of the most shocking moments of the season for sure. And really well timed. Harry's asleep. Me and Sam want to get on with our day, and the FIA taking years to resolve this. But for the championship, Sam, I guess overall probably helpful.
Hey, look, a double DSQ is never a way that I want to end a race, but if it feeds to the championship fight and the little buzz of excitement that I felt when we were about to re-record that intro or that extra segment that we were doing, it felt like it was really on. After Norris had been so good, and again, so good, it felt like, here we go. Oscar Piastri's little smirk walking out of the team garage really told you everything you need to know that this was the gift that both him and Max Verstappen needed to be back in this title fight, because Norris at this point had turned the tides. But yeah, it was spicy.
Even if we ignore the disqualification, this was seemingly a race that was won and lost at turn 1.
It was, yeah. And another turn 1 where Verstappen, I think, slightly outsmarted Norris on this one. Norris goes to do the chop, then doesn't know where to brake and goes wide. So Verstappen gets through, and he loses out to Russell at that point as well.
He pulls his own tanks down.
Yeah. It's all done by himself.
Hold on, sir. Let me do it for you.
Bortoletto still hasn't started braking.
I don't think he has.
So that one.
I just drove straight into him. What's he doing?
Revenge on for Brazil, that one.
Yep. Which again kind of cost him a lot, because he gets a 5-place grid penalty for Qatar, which ends up being one of the most difficult races to get any overtakes done all season. So it really doesn't help him having that incident. Stroll is just like, cool, I'm out, I guess. And then we have, I'm just going to label it the post-race.
That's as long as the race, I think.
You enjoyed the Disney Mickey Mouse performance,
the fireworks.
Yeah, you like that.
Oh, man, my highlight of the year.
You love the fanfare of Vegas.
I love the fanfare of Vegas.
When we go anywhere, you always imitate Mickey Mouse.
I do.
You do the voice non-stop.
Yeah. Yeah, and I pretend there's fireworks behind me.
Yeah.
You call your home the clubhouse for that reason.
I do.
Yeah. I'm calling the police. Shall we go to Qatar, the penultimate race of the season? We don't have to go there ourselves. We can just talk about it. It's fine.
Thank goodness.
25 laps was the maximum stint that you could have here, Sam, which kind of fed into strategies with there being a lap 7 safety car, you would think.
Yeah, well, there were 2 golden laps, as we discussed on the review at the time, and that was lap 7 and lap 32, because that meant that you could pit and get your laps in, of course, with the 2-stop that matched what you need to do for the end of the Grand Prix. The safety car comes out on said lap 7, and everyone decides to pit. Oh, no. Just the orange cars decide that they don't want to do that. I guess come on. So they throw away a race win, quite literally just hand it to Max Verstappen. And why do they not split this? Fairness. That's the reason, folks. Fairness.
I know it's the fantasy. The more I thought about this, it's so stupid because they say they've lost their reasoning to their drivers are they've lost all their flexibility on strategy. Well, then if you do the same, you are still leading and will also have no flexibility. You just will follow. Everyone will follow what you do because they have to.
But it's like they're trying to claim that they've lost the flexibility, but the rules as they were at the weekend allowed no flexibility. That you couldn't go longer than 25 laps. It's inflexible.
They've gained the flexibility basically because they can do this stop.
Yeah. They're literally like, that's right, they have to stop on this lap and they have to stop on this lap. Yeah. And complete the 2-stop as intended. Yeah. What are you trying to do?
You have to stop again. Also,
we gave a lot of praise to Hannah Schmitz, actually. And you know what? She deserves a lot of praise. But actually, the more I've come to watch this, the more I just realize how moronic McLaren were.
Because everyone else pits as well. So it's Hannah Schmitz and every strategist in the pit lane, bar McLaren.
McLaren claimed basically that because they were obviously the first to act, at least with Piastri, who was leading the race, they thought that there would be others that didn't pit. And as a result of that, if Verstappen was to pit and the overtakes he would need to get done, it wouldn't be worth it. But everyone else came to the same consensus that it was worth it to pit. It's baffling. But Piastri, he has a brilliant after a tough run, he has a brilliant Grand Prix to recover to at least second place. He was gutted though, and rightly so. Norris though, who is leading the championship, is trying to extend that advantage, manages to get Antonelli late on. Antonelli makes a quite a costly error for both Verstappen and Piastri in the championship.
Yeah, I think if Piastri had won this Grand Prix, there would have been a very different finale that we would have seen. And I think it robbed it, unfortunately. I also think Antonelli having the wobble and running wide also cost us what could have been a really, really exciting finale between the three of them. It almost would have played out in the perfect moment of the guy furthest back wins, the guy closest comes second, and the guy leading is further back. And of course, we then get a tirade of violence on Kimi Antonelli because of Helmut Marko's moronic words. So love that. Love picking on a teenager when you're in your 80s.
Gonna miss him.
I'm not.
Mark, go.
Whoa. Got him.
Whoa. That's one of your better ones, mate.
Anyway. Top tier.
Jeez. Sainz gets his second podium for Williams. Well on to you.
Well done, Carlos. Well then.
Great end to the year for him. Abu Dhabi is the... why do we have to do this? Anyway, Abu Dhabi's the finale.
Let's go to Brazil again.
Come on, F1.
Let's call it Brazil. Abu Brazil.
Abu Brazil.
Brazil.
Brazil. Brazil. I prefer Abu Brazil.
Lando Norris has the advantage, and those 2 points that he gets for overtaking Kimi Antonelli are quite crucial here. So if he finishes third, it does not matter what Piastri does, what Verstappen does. Verstappen, he has a blinder. He does whatever. He does all he can out front.
Yeah, can't do any more. And obviously, we talked about after the race, could him and Red Bull do anything different to hold up or influence what happened behind? But it was difficult. But I think he did all he from himself, just driving the car that weekend. He did everything he needed to do.
Yeah,
pole win by a margin. There's not anything else he could have done really. So a convincing one, and a reminder why he was even in this title fight at the end of the year anyway.
Yeah,
with drives like that.
And Piastri, of course, qualifies third in this one, Sam, but gets the move done on Lando Norris on that first lap. Can't quite chase down Verstappen, but at least, even if it was semi-orchestrated, shall we say, based on some of the comments afterwards, still a very impressive move.
Yeah, it really could have gone wrong for both of those guys, and it was still admirable that he put in such an effort. I do think even in his heart, he thought there's a 1% chance something might happen and he could go on to win this championship. I think you always would, but was not to be for him. Max drove a brilliant Grand Prix. I was just a little bit gutted we didn't see any silliness from Red Bull other than Yuki Tsunoda to pick up a penalty for running Lando Norris off the road.
Yeah, there's that.
The worst effort ever.
The worst defense you could see.
I would say he tried, but I'm not sure he did.
I'm not convinced he did.
And of course, as the attention deserves to go to Alpine, they've had a great year. It is an important race for Alpine because it's their last one as a true sort of factory team, right? Like they're losing the Renault power unit. Gasly is just like, I don't want to see this car ever again in my life. And I don't blame him.
Permanent hide and seek, where that car hides and he never seeks.
There was also quite a lot of good midfield scraps in this one that we didn't ever see.
No.
Maybe.
Wouldn't know. Never saw them. Never saw them.
Have you seen the Lewis Hamilton compilation of track limits for other drivers?
Yeah, when he's dobbing them in.
Yeah.
Telling them off is so good.
Bortoletto turn
Don't
1.
respond.
Hulkenberg
Don't
turn 1.
acknowledge.
Stop.
Don't acknowledge.
Confirming.
Copy.
Understood. I'm going to kill you, man. I got to kill him.
My favourite one is he forgets Ollie Behrman's name. He's just like, that guy in front. Which is surprising given how much of a fan of Lewis Hamilton Ollie Behrman is.
Well, apparently.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's not get into that right now.
Oh.
F1 also put on their socials a compilation of Lewis Hamilton overtaking people, like being like Lewis was on a mag one on the last one.
Could we have
It
seen
only
it?
shows 4 different. But, well, we didn't see any of it. He only overtakes 4 different cars. It's like Stroll, Bortoletto, Antonelli, Behrman, Antonelli.
Look.
End of.
They just replay them again. Beef it out a bit.
That's the sign of how Hamilton's year's gone. That's on a mad one.
Yeah,
4
He's
overtakes.
flying. He's flying.
Go on, got
Loves
him.
it, I'm sure. And then he gives that little speech at the end and they just ignore him. You hear him laughing or we were chatting in the background. Sorry.
Yeah, it's been really great, but yeah, whatever, bye.
Yeah.
Oh, were you talking? Sorry, mate.
My bad. Lando Norris, therefore, wins the Drivers' Championship by the margin of just 2 points over Max Verstappen, becoming world champion for the first time. We're not going to talk about the celebrations because I can't talk about that guy. Piastri ultimately finishing third in what is a very impressive campaign. And that's the 2025 F1 season.
We dig it.
Did it in an hour and 19. Well done, everyone.
That was if you put it in fast forward, that's how it sounds. You've not missed anything by listening to this. Actually, you don't need to go back and watch it if it's your first time. Just listen to this. You get every single bit.
Imagine you're listening to the 2025 season review and you've not watched the F1s. You wait for this review to come out.
Shall I watch the season? I'll wait for the review.
Guys, I want the condensed hour and 19 version of the F1 season.
Do you watch the F1 at the weekend? No, I'm waiting for the season review from LB.
Get all my info.
Don't I wait till December.
It's a very serious, intense review.
Imagine listening along. Piastri's got this. He's got this in the bag. No, Norris wins.
No, I never saw it coming.
Oh, Verstappen was in the fight as well.
Yeah, Verstappen was so out of it. Can't believe it.
Oh, jeez.